Now we go across to Amiben Yagnik of the Congress, who's joining us. Ms. Yagnik, you know, out of all the takeaways, perhaps the most glaring is the Prime Minister's rather unexpected but frontal attack on Narendra Modi. So, your reaction to it, and especially since the BJP now is in fact coming out and reacted very sharply to the scathing attack and also calling the Prime Minister's speech his farewell speech.
Sorry, what are the last words you said?
The BJP, in fact, reacting sharply to the Prime Minister's scathing attack, all of them saying that this is the UPA's farewell speech.
Oh. See, first of all, this was a press conference. We should not forget that. And a question was put to Honorable Prime Minister about being weak and strong, and so that is how he has responded and has given his honest opinion on what the country should have. The Prime Minister has said that it would be disastrous for the country to have Mr. Modi as Prime Minister without going into the merits of the person. And so you have to look at it, that what has made him say that it would be disastrous for the country. Obviously, if you see the record of the last 10-12 years, as his tenure as a Chief Minister, you can find ample evidence to show that definitely this country would not require a Prime Minister who has certain kinds of way of governing, you know. And so that is how the Honorable Prime Minister has put forward that he is definitely not measuring weakness and strengths on the basis of how you carry on these kind of pogroms in your state. So he says that, well, he doesn't measure strength or weakness on that aspect.
Fair point. Fair point. I understand that, Ms. Yagnik. But as the BJP, in fact, also raised a very pertinent question, in fact, saying that the Supreme Court, I mean, the courts have in fact cleared Narendra Modi. So despite that, the Prime Minister making this comment at this time is condemnable.
I think none of the cases have been finally over. Let the viewers know that only one magisterial court has given some kind of an order saying that, well, relying on a report by an SIT, and the victim is definitely going to go ahead with the matter. There are several other matters which try to point out and bring the nexus of the state government and of course the sitting ministers into the picture, but the matters are still in the court, and just because a couple of matters have given some kind of an exoneration, we cannot say a clean chit, because there are no such words in criminal jurisprudence such as clean chit. It can be either acquittal, which can be only at the end of a final trial being over, and when the victim has exhausted all the legal remedies that have been there provided in the legal procedures. So we just cannot say that there has been a final closure. But taking into consideration the fact that the Honorable Chief Minister was the Chief Minister at the time when such a program took place, he was very much there, and all the departments were under him. Everything happened right under his eyes, and that the NDA Prime Minister at that time, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, very clearly came and honestly told him that Raj Dharma karna chahiye, and Honorable Supreme Court in one of the matters in the judgment has said that the modern day Nero was fiddling while the city was burning. So all these definitely points out to a word disastrous, which one should not feel bad about, which is the truth, which is the reality.
Ms. Yagnik, you know, for a tenure that has been so scam-ridden, the Prime Minister was fairly, I would, you know, I call it, he didn't really stress much upon the issue of corruption. He didn't really go into much detail, except he mentioned 2G and you know, the coal case scam, but didn't really stress much in the sense where he spoke about, you know, he was hoping that history would, you know, sort of be better around the next time, and not really taking onus, not really the party, the UPA is not sort of coming forth and being aggressive about this and saying that no, we will, if in fact voted back to power, we will take a stand on this. So I mean, don't you think that given, especially given the AAP's spectacular debut in Delhi, mainly because on the reason of corruption and the AAP's promises, that the Prime Minister in fact treated the issue very, very lightly?
No, I think if you just look at the speech, and if we go over the speech, you know, there are 3 points which he very clearly made. One, he said that, well, all these scams pertain to the UPA 1 regime, and he also said that he was of the firm opinion that there should be transparency in the allotment of these kind of projects, or maybe if we talk about the coal allotment, coal blocks and the 2G spectrum. He said the methodology and the procedure, he did admit that there were irregularities, but they can be corrected. That was, he said that UPA 1 had all these, and yet UPA 2 did come in power, and the people did entrust the country with UPA 2. The second point was that it cannot be attributed to one party alone. Corruption is definitely an issue, he said, and for the country, and all the parties have to make a collective effort.
But by making a comment, that's saying that you were voted back despite of that, by making a comment like that, you're sort of just you're watering down the issue. You're watering down the issue a lot.
No, it is not watering down the issue. You have to understand the context, that whatever has been done by UPA 1 and UPA 2 and whatever has been done by the Honorable Prime Minister, you have to look at the schemes, the programs that have reached the last persons in the villages, in the rural areas and also the urban places. The laws that have come, that have strengthened and empowered the people, and that is why he said that, well, all this has happened, the growth rate has gone up if you compare it with the NDA regime, and then in coupled with the fact that of course there has been corruption, there have been scams, and they have been looked into by the courts also and by several committees and commissions.
Right.
But we have to make a collective effort. That was the second point. And the third point the Honorable Prime Minister said was that in the next coming few months, we want to bring the anti-corruption bill so that this can be dealt with very firmly and very strongly and very seriously.
Right.
And he showed his commitment and sincerity to curb that. But he definitely appealed that no, all the parties have to come together.